Hi everybody, this is Karma, coming back to you with episode 37 of my life stories. Hit that like button before you forget and subscribe to not miss any new episodes. Hit the bell icon to receive notifications and please consider subscribing to this channel. As a subscriber, this makes it easy for you to get any new content, and if you have a moment, listen to my playlist when you have a chance. The story for today is called Taking No for an Answer. Let's get started. A few years ago, I saw an ad on the television for a 4-day, 3-night stay in Florida at a condominium for what looked to be a very reasonable price. Our family had never taken a vacation together, so I managed to convince my husband to let me book a stay there. Part of the package was a trip to Universal in Orlando. I was quite pleased for myself as I believed we had lined up a wonderful trip at a fraction of the price. Unbeknownst to me, we were required to sit through a presentation for a timeshare. They claimed this was in the ad, but I never saw it. I can only assume it was in tiny, unreadable print in the ad. We arrived to the condo on a Thursday during the day. The condo was beautiful, very comfy, and had all amenities. The kitchen had dishes, forks, spoons, as well as pots and pans. The bedrooms had all kinds of linens, and the bathrooms had any kind of sundry that was needed, from shampoo, conditioner, and body wash, and there were also lots of big fluffy towels for use at the pool. I was thrilled with the condo, right up to the point where I was informed we were going to have to go through our presentation on Saturday in the morning. We decided to go to Universal on Friday. My husband had failed back surgery and was not in the best physical shape for a long walk. I asked if he wanted a scooter to roll around in, and he agreed. Unfortunately, when we got to guest services, we were advised that they were out of scooters and offered to rent us a wheelchair instead. My husband was constantly in chronic pain from his surgery, and for God knows whatever reason, decided that under no circumstances would he even consider going through Universal in a wheelchair. Under no circumstances except possibly murder is what I thought to myself. But as he was already upset about no scooters, I decided to give him a pass and just humor him. This turned out to be one of the worst and best mistakes of my life, as you will see later. We left guest services and decided to go ahead and go through Universal. There were lots of things to see, and I was still very excited. But the park was very crowded, and my husband constantly got jostled by a lot of the people there. It may have been one of the happiest places on earth, but some of their visitors were complete jerks. Even though my husband walked slowly with his cane, it seemed like everyone aimed for him and constantly bumped into him, causing him even more pain than what he was in. The rides had extremely long lines, and we wound up waiting for hours. My husband got more and more agitated, and this put quite a damper on my son and myself. With my husband's constant complaining, we were unable to enjoy our day at the park and just decided to give up and go home. I was angry and emotional because I had paid for the trip, and it was turning out to be a dud. I was not in the best of moods on Saturday morning when we were scheduled for the presentation. Friday had been awful, and we had lost our son for hours. We were finally reunited with him about an hour after the park had closed. Between my husband's complaining and my son's disappearance, I was not in the frame of mind to consider purchasing a timeshare to a place that had been nothing but brown-eyed agony for me up to that point. We were paired with a nice but very aggressive salesman I will call Rob. Rob went through his little spiel and asked me if I had had fun at the park the day before. I crossed my arms and said, "No, I did not. I can't wait to get back home." He was taken aback and tried to talk to my husband, who turned cowardly while pointing at me and said, "You have to talk to her." They wound up separating us and assigned another salesperson, a female, to my husband. My husband became a prisoner of war and only gave them his name and address and kept repeating, "You have to talk to my wife. You have to talk to my wife." The salesperson was unable to break him after offering him something to eat, a drink, and flirting outrageously with him. I'm so proud of him. He never cracked under pressure. Meanwhile, Rob kept reminding me how great Universal was and what fun it would be to get a timeshare so we could come have vacations there every year, etc., etc. I was also offered food and drink, but was immune to any of Rob's charms. He finally gave up and went and got the big guns. He got a supervisor. I was growing more and more frustrated. I had already said no and politely informed them that we were not in a good financial position. I had said no more than once, and now this whole situation was starting to get under my skin. The supervisor came into the room I was in and turned on the charm. To his complete disappointment, I stood up, held my hand up, and said, "Stop!" He would not be deterred and asked me, had I not had fun at Universal the day before? Did I not want to come back to visit? Was there... At that moment, the very last care I gave tore off the ceiling and clattered to the floor. I took a deep breath and started screaming. I was so mad, I don't even remember what I said. But I know that I turned the air blue with a lot of curse words and colorful descriptions of the people I had to deal with at Universal. Hulk mode activated! I could see that my screeching was alarming all the sales staff. The doors of all the other rooms were opening, and they were trying to find out who the woman, red in the face, shrieking at the top of her lungs, was, and why no one could get me to quiet down. And I gave no one a chance to cut into my outburst. I could see that the supervisor was wide-eyed and holding his hands up, pleading for me to stop. Apparently, I was causing quite a stir and alarming all the other customers they had. Some had taken the opportunity to walk out during my rant. "Please, please calm down," he begged me, which was like pouring gas on a fire. I took another deep breath, but before I could even say anything, the supervisor held something out to me. I eyed him with a suspicious, evil glare, arms crossed, and opened my mouth. "These are tickets to Epcot Center," he said hurriedly. "Please take them, and I'm sorry you have not had a pleasant stay here. Please leave. I'm so sorry if we upset you." I wanted to laugh, but managed to make a face at him as I snatched the tickets out of his hand. My husband hobbled towards me and I said, "Let's go." He followed me like a puppy. As we walked through the office, I kept seeing doors opening and immediately closing. I guess no one wanted the chance to talk to me and make me change my mind. That was fine. They wouldn't like me when I was this angry. As soon as we reached the car, my husband asked me, "What happened in there?" I told him they made me lose my temper by continuously asking me about that stupid timeshare after I had politely told them no. "What do you have in your hand?" he asked me. "Tickets to Epcot," I said. They were a bribe to get me to leave. We got back to the condo and picked up our son to go back to Universal again. We went back to guest services, and they were still out of scooters. "We'll take the wheelchair," I told them, and turned around and gave my husband an evil stare. "If you don't use it, I will," I said. My husband meekly sat in the chair and held on to his cane for dear life. I've often wondered if he didn't think or believe he would have to use it against me as a weapon. But because he was in the chair, it was faster and easier for me to get to the places we wanted to go. Universal is actually very accommodating to people with disabilities, and it turned out that since my husband was in a wheelchair, we never had to wait in line for any of the rides. This second day at Universal was awesome, and Epcot was so much fun. As I look back on this trip, I'm glad that things went horribly wrong that first day. I'm not a fan of aggressive salespeople, and I know some people who have a problem saying no. I'm very mild-mannered, and maybe those salespeople would have been able to convince me to purchase one of their timeshares if I had been in a good mood, like everyone else. Instead, I channeled my inner Karen, and for once, Karen was the hero of the day. Ooh, this lady. I really appreciate the story because it has taken me a long time to learn to say no and not sway from it. I've known people that can say no, but will crumble as soon as pressure is applied or the other person becomes aggressive. Let me know in the comments section if you've ever had to deal with an aggressive salesperson or even an aggressive friend. Earlier in her story, the author made references to a show by the name of The Incredible Hulk. So I've decided to do a giveaway. First person to answer in the comments section, a two-part question. Who played The Incredible Hulk, number 1, and who played Dr. Bruce Banner? I'll announce the winner in episode 38, July the 7th. If you would like your story read on my channel, please submit your story to karma@karmagetin.com or post to you/Karmagetin on Reddit. All stories will be read anonymously with either initials, descriptions, or pseudonyms only. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Feel free to share it with anyone and subscribe and hit the bell icon for any new stories to be delivered to you. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Well, that's my video for today. Remember, do something nice today. Help me change the world.
It's not their turn, it's my turn to shine. Like the rays of the sunlight reaching out my arms.
See you next Tuesday. Have an awesome day and night, and I will see you later.